Welcome back to Cincinnati Reds Daily. I'm your host, Greg, and today we're talking about could the Reds reunite with a former starting pitcher. The St. Louis Cardinals are reportedly shopping starting pitcher Sonny Gray after just 1 year in St. Louis. Obviously, Sonny Gray's best stretch came with the Reds. He pitched for the Reds for multiple seasons. He came to the Reds after the New York Yankees, which he really struggled at the Yankees after being really good with the A's. Derek Johnson and him knew each other from his Vanderbilt days, and they kind of got Gray back to his normal self. With the Reds, he had a 2.87 ERA in his first season in 2019, a 3.7 ERA in 2020, and a 4.19 ERA in 2021 before they shipped him off to the Minnesota Twins. So that's what we're talking about today. Would it make sense for the Reds to bring back Sonny Gray? He's 36 years old. He's owed $25 million in 2026, which isn't too bad for a pitcher. The Reds obviously paid Nick Martinez $21 million for to sign the qualifying offer last season. That's comparable. I'd probably take Gray over Martinez, so it's only $4 million more than he was making. He does have a $30 million club option for 2027. He's coming off a season where he struggled compared to what he normally does. He had a 4.28 ERA, his highest since 2018 with the New York Yankees. But he did still make 32 starts. He's a guy you can rely on and a guy that you can go to every fifth day and feel pretty good about. Again, he spent 3 seasons with the Reds, posting a 3.49 ERA. You can't ask for much better than that. So he's got familiarity with the ballpark, with Derek Johnson, with the organization. The Reds actually tried to sign him after he left the Twins, but he ultimately chose the Cardinals. So why it could make sense, obviously he makes a lot of his best stretch came under Derek Johnson and the Reds. Like I've said multiple times, he could stabilize probably the young rotation. You have Green, Lodolo, Abbott, Louder, Singer. So as much as it would make sense to fit with those guys, that's also why you're like, well, where would he fit? Because you have so many guys that are needing starts. I didn't even mention Chase Burns in there. And are you going to pay $25 million to a guy just to have a 6th or 7th starter? Obviously, if you're paying him, he's going to be in the rotation. But then you have, where do you put these other guys? Again, he gives you durability, kind of like Brady Singer. Brady Singer just takes the ball and goes. Again, he had a down year. He made 32 starts last year. You can never have enough durability in pitching. Terry Francona had an interesting quote last season. He said, when you think you have enough pitching, go get more. So the reason we brought this up as the Reds could be a potential fit here, we have a quote from, I believe it is Nick Deeds of MLB Trade Rumors. He said, the Reds could be a long shot to land Gray. It was the Reds. I'm reading a quote from him here. It was the Reds that Gray turned his career around after leaving New York, and he pitched to a 3.49 ERA across 3 seasons in Cincinnati. Deeds wrote. He signed an extension with the club once before, so his no trade clause would likely be a non-issue. And the Reds were connected to him both during his last trip through free agency and even on the trade market last year. It would stand to reason that there would be some interest between the two sides once again, but the Reds' limited budget makes a trade hard to envision, given that they already have a rotation of Hunter Green, Andrew Abbott, Brady Singer, and Nick Lodolo locked in for 2026. Again, that's not even mentioning Burns or Louder. So, does it make sense? I don't know. I don't think it's something that the Reds are going to go do, but you really just never know. Nobody thought the Reds were going to sign trade for Brady Singer with all the pitching they had last year. He's got playoff experience, which you hope the Reds are going to be back in the playoffs next year. It's only 1 year guaranteed. Again, there's a $30 million option for 2027 if they wanted to pick that up. But again, with the pitching rotation, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Obviously, the offense had a really down year in 2025. Everybody wants the Reds to go sign or trade for a big bat. I would agree. If the Reds are going to spend $25 million, I don't think they need to go sign another pitcher. Go make a trade for somebody that has a bigger salary. Go sign somebody in free agency. The Reds need offense. The Reds have pretty good pitching depth. Even with a couple injuries, I think the Reds are set up for success next season, especially when it comes to starting rotation. The Reds could definitely use some relievers, but we're talking about a 36-year-old Sonny Gray here. And with being 36, he's probably due for some regression. So, could the Reds trade for him? Again, Deeds listed him as a long shot, so I wanted to just at least bring it up. I would be pretty surprised if the Reds traded for him, especially taking on all that salary. But who knows? But anyways, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. What do you think? Should the Reds trade for Sonny Gray? Would you be mad if the Reds traded for Sonny Gray and didn't go get a bat? Maybe they could trade for Sonny Gray and go get a bat. I don't think that's happening with their budget limitations. But who knows? Again, my stance are if the Reds are going to spend $25 million, use that on the offense. But we'll leave you with that. If you made it this far, like, subscribe, and comment. Appreciate you for being here. Go Reds.